Hello and welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Georgie from Healing Moons, and today we are looking at the Balsamic Moon phase, and this takes place 10.5 days after the full moon, and it will continue through until the start of the new moon. And the key words for this phase are healing, soothing and surrender. The word balsamic comes from balsam, which means anything that is healing or soothing, which is what this phase of the moon is all about. So we've moved through our hopes, dreams and explosions of potential throughout the lunar phase, or phases I should say, since we started at the new moon. We've also had the realization of what is, or what can or cannot be at this point. We've gone through the acceptance, forgiveness and surrender, and now we come to the healing and soothing part of the lunar cycle. This is also a time to really go easy on yourself. This is when you'd start to, or the part of the moon phase, or cycle I should say, falling over my words already, where you take that time to stop and relax and heal and rest before starting again at the new moon phase. So this is the time when you can start to think about your dreams, what it is that you want to achieve. It doesn't have to be within the next lunar cycle. It can be as big and wild as you want it to be. This is a time to really daydream and just let yourself kind of get carried away on those thoughts and dreams of anything that you want in your life, or even just that process of going through your dream day and just imagining what it would be like. Just let yourself get carried away with your daydreams, basically, before I get carried away with this bit. So it's also a time to be gentle with yourself and to breathe, because you've done all of this hard work and gone through all of the lunar cycle up until this point. So it's a time to kind of and let it all go. Okay, that's what this moon phase is about. So this is also a good time to chant the Sanskrit word, which is Om Namo, or words I should say, Om Namo Narayani. So that's Om Namo Narayani. And this means I surrender to the divine, which is a massive part of this. So it's about letting go and giving the universe the steering wheel for a while, if you like. So because this is the end of the lunar cycle, as I say, it's really a time to let go and move on as well. And as I said before, it's a time to heal and rest. And of course, give yourself time and permission to daydream, because we get so caught up with our day-to-day lives that I don't think we necessarily stop and allow ourselves to do that. This is also a great time to let go of any bad habits or habits that aren't good for you. And it's also in relation to relationships as well. Anything that isn't good for you now is a great time to be letting go of that. And it's also a wonderful time to release any upset. So if there are relationships that have caused you upset within the lunar month, if it's a relationship that you want to keep, because let's face it, we all have disagreements at some point, now is the time to let go of the upset that has accumulated, if you haven't done so already. So in summary of what we've gone through in this lunar month, and as part of the Moon Phases series, the moon can be used as a magical cosmic timer to help you create your ideal life and dream life. Also, connecting with the moon allows us to connect with the cycles and rhythms of the moon and the energies, and also with the planet as a whole, because although we're focused on the moon phases and the ebb and flow of the energies of that, we can also see it in the planet, in the seasons, and how everything has a time when it's in bloom. Even if you're looking at your garden, there's a time when we're in bloom, everything's out there to be seen, which is the same energy as the full moon. And then we have winter, when everything goes within and rests, rejuvenates, to come back out again in the spring. So it's the same principle for cyclical living, whether it be that we're looking at nature and the seasons, or whether we're looking at the moon and the different phases that it goes through and where the energy is within that. So there are 8 major moon phases that we've looked at within the series, but if you're starting out and this is new to you, your main parts that you can focus on are your new moon and your full moon. So when you're setting your intentions at the new moon, and then any healing and releasing at the full moon as well. So those are your 2 parts that you would focus on. So as I said, the new moon is the time to put your wishes and intentions out there to the universe, and the full moon is the time when you can become extra emotional, and which obviously makes sense because the moon is about emotions. It's linked with the divine feminine energy, so it's all about your deep emotions and intuition, which is going to be affected. So yes, when it comes to the full moon, that's why everyone might get a little bit crazy around the full moon. And interesting little facts. So the new moon is obviously dark and hidden, because we can't see it, and that's why it's called the new moon. But it's associated with witches, and it's about secrecy and veiled mysteries. While the full moon is associated with almost an empress kind of energy. So it's very fertile and abundant, almost like it's overflowing with energy as well. And obviously the illuminating goddess, such as Selene, which is the Greek moon goddess. So because we've been looking at oils and crystals that you can use, they're going to be exactly the same. So rather than repeat myself again with those, if you are interested and you haven't seen the oils and crystals that you can use, then please do go back through the series and watch one of the other episodes for the waning moon, any of the waning moon phases. So I wanted to include something that you can use to self-soothe at this time, which can help with the healing if you've got something that's coming up. You can also use this at the full moon phase as well if you're feeling really emotional. But I wanted to mention something that is called Ho'oponopono, and this originates in Hawaii, and it's actually a forgiveness prayer. So it's got 4 main stages to it, and if you think of what it is that needs healing or that's upsetting you, you can, if you take a couple of deep breaths to calm and center yourself. So it would be in through your nose and out through your mouth. And make sure that you relax your stomach muscles as well when you're doing this, to allow it to fill up when you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then, with the thing in mind that needs healing, you can say this in a mirror to yourself, or you can just think it in your head. You can say it out loud, whatever feels right for you, where you are when you're doing it. So the words that you would say to yourself are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you can say this as many times as you need to, until it starts to feel lighter and less dense. So just keep repeating, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'll put these in the description box as well, so that you can copy them out if you want to, and you can stick it on a post-it note if you want to, put it on the mirror so that you see it. So the meaning of Ho'oponopono, I'm not quite sure how the first part is pronounced when it gets broken down, but it's H-O-O. So I'm going to go with Ho or Ho'o, not quite sure, but that means to make, and then Pono means right. So because of the repetition with the Pono on the end of Ho'oponopono, this means that it makes it doubly right, or being right for both self and others. So you're making it right for yourself and right for the person that it may involve as well, because you're forgiving yourself and forgiving them. The reason that it's structured the way that it is because you can't have love without forgiveness. So you have to go through the forgiveness part first, of saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And then, thank you, I love you. That's why it's set out in that way. If you want to, there's an extra thing that I like to add to it myself. I don't know if my microphone might need moving. But you can stroke your arms. You start up here and then work your way down. So as you're saying, what was it? See, my brain is terrible. So, with one stroke down, I'm sorry. And then, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Now, you want to put a certain amount of pressure on, but not to the point that you're going to give yourself Chinese burns. No, friction burns. I don't know if they're called Chinese burns anymore. That's what I knew them as a kid. But yeah, so you don't want to hurt yourself while you're doing it, but the idea is that you want to make yourself feel like you're being held and hugged, so that it's soothing in and of itself. So that practice of putting pressure on your arms and with a downward motion is actually part of havening, which I know of and I've tried, but I'm not trained in. But that's got eye movement in it as well. But I like kind of combining the two, because it's doubly soothing, if you know what I mean, to go with the forgiveness prayer. So yes, I wanted to share that little bit with you, because then it's something that you can use going forwards as well. And obviously you can come back to the series as many times as you want to and watch them through as you're going through that part of the lunar cycle as well. So thank you for joining me for this series. It has been amazing to start off doing these with you and for you. and getting your feedback. And I will be creating a lot more as well going forwards as standalone episodes. But thank you for joining me, and I hope that this has been helpful. And as always, if you like these, then please, if you've enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up down below, comment, it all helps the algorithms. And obviously subscribe if you haven't already and you want to. And I will catch up with you all soon. Love and light, take care. Bye.